conference. I hope you're all healthy and doing well. Some of you know me. My name is Liv. I'm a German journalist. I used to work as a Formula One reporter and a test driver for TV shows. And I now work as an investigative journalist. So I'm always very happy to make my audience learn about how things really are. And I'm very happy to welcome media from all around Europe and the world, since the future of mobility is not stopping at any border. We as humans and the car manufacturers as the industry have a huge responsibility for the future. And as we know, this future will be in many, many parts electric. This is why AUTOBEST created the ECOBEST Challenge to reveal the real green credentials. The results are coming from a consistent methodology of testing performed to all 15 cars in a test. This methodology is inspired by the practical needs and driving behavior of most of the European motorists. AUTOBEST is also launching 2 new indexes, EcoC1, representing the ratio between real range and WLTP range, and EcoC2 about the real energy efficiency of EVs. Creating these 2 new categories was possible thanks to the partnership of AUTOBEST and VINFAST, the leading car producer of Vietnam and part of the VIN group. The test was also only possible thanks to the logistical cooperation of the Spanish leading media Coches.net and the technical support of Circutor, a leading Spanish producer of charging engines. As we start with the press conference now, you will have the chance to ask questions afterwards. Therefore, please see down below, there's a bar where it says reactions. And if you press reactions, there's the option to raise the hands. We will go back to that later on. And I will make sure that everyone who has raised the hand and has a question he or she wants to ask will be heard. Now I'd like to introduce our 2 main speakers, Madame Big Tran, the CEO of VinFast Group, and Mr. Dan Vardier, the founder and chairman of AUTOBEST and the creator of the EcoBest Challenge. And since we do ladies first, I would like to hand over the speech to Miss Madame Big Tran.
Thank you, Liv. Hello, I'm Big Tran, CEO of VinFast Europe, and I'm very happy to attend the event today. VinFast is delighted to be a partner of AUTOBEST, and the co-organization of the EcoBest Challenge today is a part of our strategy for what's defining the future of mobility that we are aiming for. Through the EcoBest Challenge, VinFast is looking forward to join hands with other electric vehicle manufacturers to promote the transition from internal combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles, bringing the transparent and thought-provoking information to customers. So allow me to play a video to introduce you about VinFast. Did you hear the sounds?
No, we don't.
Sorry. Please allow me to play again with the sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So as you seen, you may seen on the video, on the image, sorry that we could not play the audio, but VinFast is a Vietnamese car maker that was established in 2017 with a vision to join the global smart electric vehicle revolution. We focus on the customer first philosophy with high standard product, excellent service, and outstanding after sales. You may ask, so what makes VinFast different from other competitors? There are some elements. Firstly, we have a Vingroup backing. Vingroup is one of the biggest multi-industry private company in Asia, and is the largest enterprise by market capitalization in Vietnam. So this allows us to have a financial stability and dependability. Furthermore, without legacy of models and technology, we are able to react quickly to the global trends and have developed a range of EVs that is perfectly tailored to the European market. Last but not least, in Vietnam, VinFast has already built a state-of-the-art, highly automated manufacturing facility, as you are seeing on the slide now. So these aspects combine to give VinFast a comparative edge. Our factory, built from a greenfield on only 21 months, as a result of investment of $4 billion US, and it achieved 90% of automation. The production facility is much more than just a part of assembly line. In the 335 hectare site, it acts as a comprehensive production hub. And it has a workshop for stamping, welding, painting, assembly, powertrain, and on-site suppliers facilities. Since our start, VinFast is incredibly busy. In 2018, VinFast unveiled the first cars in Paris Motor Show for domestic markets. In 2019, VinFast put the mega factory, as you have seen, in operation. 2020, VinFast became the best-selling automaker in all three market segments that we entered in Vietnam. In 2021, VinFast begins pre-orders for the first electric car in Vietnam, VFE 34. And in 2022, we are going to see the showroom network of VinFast will be open in the US, Canada, and Europe. And early this month, at the Los Angeles Auto Show, VinFast officially unveiled two electric SUV models for the international market, VFE 35 and VFE 36. The car will be possess usability through the increasing range and reducing charging times, as well as accessibility in terms of ownership models and after-sales support. And the car has been attracted great attention from industry experts, media, and customers. VinFast is committed to make a more sustainable future for transportation, allow people to enjoy intelligent, safe, and exciting environmental-friendly mobility. To achieve this, VinFast has a clear goal of growing its business in Europe and North America. In Europe, we will start in the three countries, Germany, France, and Netherlands. Indeed, we realize the challenges of involving and launching a new brand name in such a well-established marketplace. To have a smooth transition, we have joined the key associations in France, Germany, and Netherlands, and partner with organizations such as AUTOBEST, who represents opinions of customers in Europe. Boundless together. It's VinFast's slogan, and it is our commitment to the advanced EV technologies and better ownership experience for more people, to make EV become smarter and more accessible for everyone. This is VinFast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ben, I would like to hand over to you.
Hello, everybody, also from my side. It's really a pleasure to be with so many people on live, but also you have to know that we are live on Facebook with an important number of people around Europe. It's about people who are really interested in the developing of our journey, our common journey to the electromobility, the journey to the zero emission. I want to use this opportunity to thank BIC and thank VinFast for this great cooperation we have. Actually, with VinFast, we have a history. We have to say that more than 3 years ago, a big number of European journalists, I mean AUTOBEST jury members, visited back then VinFast, which was just a small startup. We checked everything, the investments, the factory, the engineers, discussions with the designers. Everything was by the book, as we do in AUTOBEST. And we decided together to become the first company in the world with an important award called The Star is Born. And now after 3 years, we can see that practically VinFast is really a star all around the world. But that's not necessarily the reason we team up with VinFast. The real reason that we share with our friends from VinFast the same vision to go to the future of mobility. We believe that VinFast is offering something different. And as you will see next year, when they will launch the operation in Europe, it will be the first time in the near future when a manufacturer will give you, for instance, different possibilities for your battery. But that's to be discussed in the future. Now, I want to thank again VinFast for the cooperation. I also want to thank coaches.net, to Juan Dalmau, which is the creative editor of Coaches and our AUTOBEST juror, not to mention that he is also the project manager of ECOBEST Challenge, and his contribution is very important to this project. Actually, during the session, he will be able to ask to some of your questions next to me. Also, I want to thank Circutor, our technical partner from Spain, from Terrassa, because we used the platform, the industrial platform of Circutor, a leading producer of charging stations in Spain and in Europe. We used this platform to perform our test. It's this city, Terrassa, it's near Barcelona in Spain. And very simply, we drove 15 electric vehicles available in Europe with the criteria that all of them must have more than 200 kilometer WLTP range, but under 32,000 euro before taxes. In AUTOBEST, we always discuss the prices without any kind of taxes. As in Europe, we have a lot of taxation everywhere. It's different. And of course, in the case of electric vehicles, without taking into consideration any incentives granted by different states in Europe. The circuit we used, it was about 60 kilometers journey with 50% highways, conventional roads 20%, and about 30% urban roads. It's our choice. We are not claiming that is perfect. Actually, we are not claiming at all that what it did is perfect, but definitely it's coming very close to the ideal average in Europe. And I'm saying this because we used 15 key media people from 13 countries, from everywhere practically. You see some of my colleagues in the picture now from all around Europe, which all of them been able to drive all the cars in a rotation process. All the cars been driven on exactly the same route, exactly at the same time, and exactly in the same style. All my colleagues been invited to behave normally, which is a novelty in a way, because WLTP, as you know, has several restrictions. Driving in a normal way is to be happy having connected technologies on board, meaning that you have to use, you know, the radio, the internet, the navigation system, the heating system, any kind of goodies we have nowadays, because otherwise, if everything will be stopped or off, it will be a bit strange to have so many things on board of cars but not to use it. So as you can see, everything was done in a very European motorist, with the idea that all the motorists in Europe should receive a reliable information about how these electric cars, I repeat, 15 cars, behave in reality. It's good to mention there is no VinFast car in this test for the simple reason that these days they don't have anything in Europe. Now, let's go to the first results. You have now another picture from the days for the day we did the test, and now I will explain a little bit later what happened here. You see some of the people working, pushing a car, and you'll understand it is not by coincidence. It was by intention what happened. And I'm sure you will like it and you will understand why these people are doing pushing this car. So now let's go to the first big table of results. And now let me tell you one by one the 4 big chapters we want to communicate today. First of all, we promised to give a real range. The real range, as I said, was coming as a result after the test. So the real range to all the cars, to all the 15 cars, as you can see in the graph, is less than 100% of WLTP. This means that actually WLTP cycle, it's a bit too optimistic versus the reality. Many of you will tell, yes, that's people know. Yes, it's true. Many people are talking about this, but still there is no proof. We believe this is the first time a very unbiased, very neutral, very genuine average test is showing that WLTP it's more optimistic. The EcoC1, it's our first index, and of course is representing the ratio between the real range and WLTP range. And as you can see, there is no car with 100 or more than 100%. As I said before, all the cars are below. The good news is that practically all the cars are better than 75%. And even better, more than 10 are more than 80%. And there are 5 cars, if I counted correctly, with more than 19% of this EcoC index, which is showing that the industry is working hardly to make it possible to come to a reality, because in the end of the day, all the European motorists need just real figures and not, let's say, more theoretical, ideal case situations. Then the next important thing, which we believe it's extremely important for the future, I will call it the key announcement of today, is the index EcoC2. We've been a long time thought what might be an indication, an index to unify the planet around a common goal. And we realized in AUTOBEST that the key element is how efficient the energy is spent on board of our cars. And nowadays, as we go to electric energy more and more, and not only in cars, dear friends, if you look to the Fit for 55, you can see that they are talking about electric energy in everything. And that's the future. Of course, we don't go now in this kind of details. Maybe we will have another roundtable soon on this kind of things regarding Fit for 55. But coming to our cars, we realized that the key element is how efficient is, I repeat, to spend the energy. And as a logical consequence, the EcoC2 index is about how many kilometers you can go with your electric car for every kilowatt hour of battery. Of course, it's about your battery in your car. The fantastic news here is that for the first time, we have 1 kilowatt hour everywhere around the planet. My kilowatt hour in my country is the same kilowatt hour in your country, in Europe, in the United States, in Asia, and so on. In the past, remember the famous US miles per gallon, which makes a lot of sense in US, but for us in Europe is absolutely impossible to, unless you have to translate. Of course, we can do that, but it was never a unifying factor. Now we believe the EcoC2, how many kilometers per kilowatt hour you have as a real range, that we believe this is the one who will unify. And by the way, it's very easy to understand. As you can see on the screen, we have somewhere between 5.55 kilometers per kilowatt hour going to 8.25, which is Dacia Spring, the today world champion or European champion in terms of energy efficiency spent on board of the car. We believe that this is really a kind of starting of our electromobility, the journey to electromobility. We believe at AUTOBEST that this is the moment all of us, industry, consumers, media, to understand that we have to focus how to spend better the energy in the future. And with this 8.25, which is the best, by the way, as an average, this year is better than the results of ECOBEST Challenge of 3 years ago. We checked that. We believe that things will improve in the future, and we make today a kind of prognosis. We believe by 2025, the efficiency on board of cars will grow to 10, even 12 kilometers per kilowatt hour to be, as I said, better spent the energy. The third big news, which is also a kind of relief, is about range from zero battery. As we all know, on the cluster, you have an indication about the battery. Actually, there are two. One is about the battery, the other one is about the kilometers. Usually the kilometers, once you go to zero, it's disappearing, but the indication for the battery on the cluster, it's staying there until it's becoming to zero. If you ask one of the many, many millions of European motorists, what is the feeling when on your electric car it's zero, then of course, the first answer is panic. Don't be ashamed, because this is science. When your phone is going to zero, you panic. And the question is, what is going to happen with the car after is zero on the cluster? And here, the EcoBest Challenge is coming with a fantastic good news. We checked the so-called killing the battery operation. That's a nickname inside the EcoBest Challenge. So we've been driving all the cars from the zero battery indication on the cluster to the totally depleted batteries in reality of the cars. And what we discovered, that there is life, there is energy in the battery after this zero indication, and that life is equal between 14 kilometers and 37.8 kilometers. The number one, as you can see in the table, is Nissan Leaf with this amazing amount, 37.8 kilometers. That's mean, dear friends, all around Europe, if you run in such a situation, don't panic. You still have life left in your battery, so you still have time to go to a fast charging or a charging station. However, we at AUTOBEST, we highly recommend to all the European motorists to treat this as a strategic reserve, never to be used, because we advise never, ever go in such a situation. However, if it's the case, then you have, can see a kind of backup solution. And now the last figures we want to share with you today, it's about the other EcoC3 index. As you can see in the graph, we also measured, thanks to the cooperation of Circuitor, how much real energy you need to charge in the car. And as you can see, the EcoC3, it's about the ratio between this real energy necessary to charge the car after was totally depleted till the 100% versus the net battery, of course, as defined by technical specs. What we discovered, and is nothing really new, something like you need more between 5.9% and 27.1% more electric energy to fill the cars. There are several technical explanations. So Johan, later on, if it's a question on that, he can explain more. To us, it's important to understand the phenomenon, but more important, we believe is fair to tell to the European consumers this plus energy you need to fill into your battery, into your car, as you have to pay, by the way, for this plus of energy. Being said that, these are the key figures we want to share with you today. We believe that these figures will be important for all the European consumers. Allow me in the end to have few remarks. First, as you noticed, in EcoBest Challenge, we avoid to make any rankings or any comparisons. We are just giving the figures as they are, even the tables being organized by segments, A segment, B segment, and C segment. So there is not an order in particular, because we strongly believe it's not our mission as EcoBest Challenge to make any rankings. We do not say at all that this car or this brand is better than the other car or the other brand. We do not say I don't know, a range of 200 is better than a range of 400 of the other way around. This test was an average, ideally average European consumer test. It was not an eco-driving test just to make a world record of autonomy. And by contrary, it was not a really speed rally test to see how agile are the electric vehicles. As you see, none of this was on our focus. And therefore, please understand that we are just offering in an equal way. We treat it in the same way as I mentioned, all the cars in the test, just to make people around Europe aware about figures regarding this real range, this left in the energy left in the battery, and so on and so forth. And of course, we are standing clearly with these figures. However, we do not claim this is the only truth, this is the ideal case, because it was obviously a real test in real traffic with real conditions, which might be similar in your country or not. However, we believe that we are very close to the reality as it is. So I will close my speech here. I hope, Liv, I'm in time.
You're very much in time then. Thank you very much. The results are very impressive. Now I would like to come to the question and answers section. So I'm inviting all of you to raise your hand in case you have a question. You find the button to raise the hand down on the bar, the right button reactions. If you press that button, you find another button saying raise your hands. And if there are questions, you're now very welcome to ask them. Altan, you're the very first
Hello, everybody. My question is actually, I was on the testing and always I was thinking that why the companies doesn't give any real ranges for the cars. Actually, they are using right now WLTP, and plus they added right now the real driving conditions test RDE. Calculated together, their results are different than our results. Why they don't give the customers not real and I must say reality results about their cars? This is my question, and I'm thinking for this since so many years. Thank you.
I will try to answer. First of all, Okan, thank you very much for your question. Obviously, this is a question for the industry, not so much to EcoBest Challenge. What we know from our experience, dear friends, because we started this project, by the way, the moment we started was in Istanbul during a festivity in Istanbul. It was an AUTOBEST event in Istanbul more than 10 years ago when we launched the Real Green initiative. And inside the Real Green was this EcoBest Challenge. So it's not a new idea. It's actually something we are working diligently since many, many years, since before the electromobility, by the way. We noticed during these years that European Commission was being criticized by the consumers because it's not using a reality test. I will remind all of you that years ago was NEDC cycle of testing. And you may remember that AUTOBEST was one, not only one, of the organizations, in this case, motoring media organizations, discussing a lot with Commission why they don't do a real test, because NEDC was completely out of any reality. Back then, the answer was that we will do one, which is the reality, and that one was WLTP, which was obviously much closer to the reality. We all remember a famous example when Renault Zoe recently launched. Back then, when they introduced WLTP, was downgraded from 400 kilometer NEDC range to the 300 kilometers WLTP range. Just from one kind of measurement to the other kind of measurement was officially less than 100 kilometers. What we had hoped, all of us, was that WLTP is representing the reality. However, we discovered that WLTP is not, for instance, taking into consideration during the measurements these kind of things like air conditioning, heating system, lights, radio, not even the radio, navigation, and so on and so forth, which is, as always said, when we said very clearly to the Commission, we believe is stupid. How you can have all this on board of your cars, which are representing the 21st century, is representing nowadays, as we always do in AUTOBEST, the essence of motoring. Enjoying your life in driving, it's a part of your life. It's how you can take it out, this part, so important. Anyway, this is the situation of today. We do not have any information that WLTP will be changed soon. So that's an opportunity for us to make it real, to try to make European motorists happy having our figures. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. I think the next one was Rob van Ginneken.
Close. Okay, thank you. I have not been at the meeting, unfortunately, but I was very curious if you could describe to me how the system of drivers works. I think there's a rotation to sort of flatten out the influence of driving style. I would like to know something about that. And I would be curious how the last kilometers of the test work, because I just saw a picture of people pushing. So how does this work?
I will, thank you, Rob. I will take the first part of the question, and for the soul killing the battery, I will ask Joan to answer, because he was very close. I was very close too, but he was really, it was his job to find the right solutions. It's very easy, and there's no secret. We call it the human random factor, which means we invited people from all around Europe, from different countries, different cultures, different driving behavior. And all of these people being in the situation to drive somewhere around 20, maybe a bit more kilometers in such a way that everybody will practically driven almost all the cars by one, So it was very well organized. We've been in a convoy just to avoid any stupid, driving styles. However, the RIN was conducted by the speed limits. For instance, on the highway, we never crossed 120 or 110 according to the highway requirements. In the city, we never crossed 50 or 40 or 30 kilometers according to requirements. So it was a kind of average imposed both by the road conditions, but also by the people driving. So we can, we believe that by this human random factor, we can be close to the real traffic results of range and the others. And for the last life left in the battery, I will ask Juan to give you some insight.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, I will explain it. First, regarding the guys participating in the test, we changed the car every 30 kilometers, 30 kilometers, in order to avoid that the style of driving was had an influence on the final results. We designed it, as Dan commented before, a journey mixing motorway, conventional roads, and urban environment of about 60 kilometers, 60. And when the cars achieved the range under these 60 kilometers, measured obviously in their clusters, they started a new journey of 22 that had been made 1 or 2 times, depending on the range. And finally, we did a third circuit made using some roundabouts outside from circuiter from 5 to 1 kilometers, in which the cars continued until they get 0 kilometers range in the clusters. Okay. Then at this point, we took all the cars inside the circuiter's factory. There is a perimetrical road on it, and we drive the cars there at 30 kilometers per hour only until they completely stop. This is the formula we made to kill completely the car batteries. It was, in terms of logistics, it was very logical to do it like this, because when the car were run out, then we pushed only to the chargers and we charge it. Then it was the more, as I said, the more logistical way to do it.
Thank you very much, Joan, for this explanation. I think the next question goes to Richard Orkup.
Great, thank you very much, and congratulations to everyone involved for such a fascinating, brilliant initiative. I think it's the results are truly remarkable. My question particularly focuses on Eco C3. Could you perhaps explain some of the technical factors behind this? What causes this plus energy to fill the cars? If you could provide some insight into that, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Yes, we have some scientific explanations. I will ask Joan to start first, because he was also, like myself, fully immersed in understanding why it's so, because obviously we like in the normal life to be, 100% efficient. However, we discovered, as Joan will start telling you immediately, we discovered that actually is not true in the energy systems in the car. And after he will end the presentation of why it's like that, then I will also mention a few things. So Joan, please.
Yes, the first thing is that the current is in AC mode when it's in the grid and has to be transformed to DC mode to get stored in the batteries. Okay, then all the manufacturers tell normally this is something that is new, that there is a loss about 5% of the energy during this process. That means transforming the AC from the grid to DC to store it in the battery generates a loss of 5%. And then when you use the car with the processes that needs also to transform the DC current in the battery to AC current to power the car engine, the loss is also about 5%. Okay. Then the first 5% is due to this, but there are also other issues that affects this result. For example, when the car is charging itself, they uses also some of the energy to power all the car system used for charging, mainly the inverter, for example. But there are also the software, the socket, everything related with the process needs some energy, and obviously this energy is picked up from the grid. And finally, and that depends of the charging process and also the state of the battery, there is also some losses of energy during the process due to, for example, the fast charging. When you fast bury with a fast charging system, the loss is higher than in a low charging system. And also the energy is used to power all the, how to say, the climatization of the process. That means if the temperature is very low, there is need some heating of the batteries, and for this is used also the energy coming from the grid. And at the contrary, when there is a very hot environment, the batteries need to be refrigerated during the charging process, and this also uses some energy.
Thank you, Juan. Just to Richard, to add some more things. Before that, before this conference, we've been in contact with two key international engineers we call real specialists in the field. Unfortunately, I cannot name them because they are working so far with two big OEMs, and they asked me not to be mentioned officially. But what they said is absolutely the same as Juan mentioned. Especially when the car is totally, the battery is totally depleted. All the energy is drained out. When you go back to the station to charge the car, it's a bit more energy needed to fill everything back. Obviously, if your battery is not totally depleted, the situation is better. So we can say to the European consumers that our result is the worst case scenario. But also it's very important to mention the conditions we had. It's about the temperature, about the details about how many kilowatt was the station and things like that. So it's a particular situation, which it's again, we are very open. It's giving people a reference, because now we can, by measurement, we can clearly say that you have to expect that you practically pay more than the battery. It's a reality, and it's good to let people know. And I want to only add that there are also other organizations which noticed this charge on top of the capacity of your battery. Even Transport and Environment mentioned even worse figures than ours. However, again, we are not making a comment if it's good or bad. We just inform the European consumer that they have to expect this, which again is a part of the reality, Richard. We like it or not, you know, machines are not perfect, and even in the case of electric cars, we can see there are losses in the system in a way. It's not like you put 1 kilowatt equal 1 kilowatt in the battery. No, it's not like that. Before, with the IC engines, if I may say before, because they are still around and they will be still around for many years, we never discussed about this. Remember, dear colleagues, we never discussed about efficiency, how we spend the fuel on the board. What is the efficiency of an IC engines? We never discussed that. It was not a part of our vocabulary. Now, because we understand more and more how difficult it is to have energy in everything in our lives, we started to think seriously about the efficiency. That's the reason that we, and by the way, for the next editions, we will continue to go in this direction of technical details. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. I just saw a raised hand. Yes, Tonio. Wait.
Hi, again, I join Richard in congratulating you for a really good event and very, very meaningful results. There's just a few technical questions that I wish to ask, not having been there. Which power did you use when it came to recharging the batteries? How many chargers were there lined up? And did you look at the even distribution of charging? Because we know that if there's 10 chargers and only one is being used, there's a certain power coming in. But if all 10 chargers are being used, there might be a slight difference in that regard. And I don't think it's the case, but would people be adding the mileage below zero on the dashboard to the total mileage? So if a car covered 200 kilometers and there was an extra 30 kilometers after it marked zero, will there be the tendency to say that the car does 230 kilometers range?
Thank you, Tonio. I will ask only to the last question because it's very easy. But for the technical details, I will ask Joan to jump in because he was there involved in recharging process. To be very clear, the total range is total range, including the last resource in the battery. So that resource is included in the range we reported. It's a part of that. It's not on top. Okay. Thank you. So Joan.
Thank you.
Yes, we used the circuitor chargers, which are 22 kilowatts hour in AC, and we only used one fast charger to split the difference between the two cars that are exactly this, that has exactly the same system, which was the Cupra Born and the Volkswagen ID3. And the Cupra Born was charged with high-speed charging of 50 kilowatts. But this was the only car charged with this device. The rest were in conventional 22 kilowatt hour chargers.
Thank you very much. Are there more questions? Yes. Persoria.
Yeah, I can add to Joanne's explanation that yes, the chargers were the twin 22 kilowatt three-phase. So each charger can offer 22 kilowatts to two cars, each one. But in the configuration of the chargers for the test, most of the cars, in fact, all of the cars were charging at single phase 7.1 kilowatt of AC power. The measurement of the energy is always on the AC side. So the cars that were charged using the AC plugs, of course, we measured the amount of power, the amount of energy that we provide to the onboard charger of each car. And for the Cupra and the ID3 that were charged using a DC fast charger, also the measurement is on the AC side of the charger. So it was equivalent the performance of the DC fast charger to the onboard charger of each car. And about also the performance of the batteries when charging and discharging, need to consider that the temperature of the test, because of this final recharge was done during the night, and the temperature was quite low. That means you need to consider that the performance of recharging the battery is not the same from 0 to 20%, and it's also not the same from 80% to 100%. So maybe for next edition, to evaluate the most typical recharging sessions, we can run from 20 to 80% of the battery. charging session, because this is the central part of the recharge and the most typical, and with better performance than recharging in the beginning completely empty battery, or even achieving the last kilowatt hours of a battery, that then the battery is using proceeding to equalize all the cells in the battery. So some energy is spent not just recharging the full capacity of the battery, but also in the equalization of the cells. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this additional information.
Liv, if I may
Yes.
add something, because this
Sure.
is giving me the opportunity to speak about an important topic we are facing for EcoBEST Challenge. Our dream was always to find the ideal partnerships to make it possible. I have to tell you that to organize this kind of event, dear friends, might look simple, but it's extremely complex. And finding a spot in Europe, in Europe, looks like mission impossible. I'm saying this because the ideal case, ideal scenario we imagined, and I said we because it's me, Joan, and the other people in the team, David from Norway, there are many, Dave from Ireland, there are many people in the team. We imagined to have this case when one first process of charging to be AC, like you have back home, and of course another charging process to all the cars to be fast DC charging. Here is a trick. The ideal case is to have enough power, something like 150 and even more, to give to all the cars the possibility to be charged at the maximum capacity they can absorb through the system of each car, which means that some cars, as you see in our tables, can be fast charged with 100 kilowatts, some others with more, some others with less. And of course, that will be a great comparison. And of course, we dream to have the timings of this kind of charging. However, that was not possible in Circuitor. That will be possible in the future. We hope so. And one day we will do it. I don't know how quick. We hope next year we will find these solutions. Also keep in mind that having so many cars, don't forget it was 15 cars, it's difficult to make all the measurements, because you need, okay, you can go to the car until 20%, then you go to fast charge to see from 20 to 80%. Then you go to drive the car again to go, I don't know, to 0, and then you measure, make the charging from 0 to 100. Let's see what is the situation. Then you have to drive again the cars to make it to below 0. I mean, this last resource. All these things, of course, all of them are possible. But organizing things is not only costly in terms of money, it's a lot of time to be done. So as I said with my colleagues, that's the reason probably that we are the only ones in Europe trying this challenge for ourselves to find solutions to this mission. And yes, hopefully in the future we will be able. However, talking about future, someone asked me before, what is the plan? The plan is to continue, of course, next year to have one edition better organized. The ideal case is, of course, to keep the electric cars. Joan is keep reminding me, which is true, be careful then, because more and more and more electric cars are coming. And if you are consistent, and we are consistent in our choices, we have to be sure that we keep the same system. That means that if next year we will have below 32,000 euro, I don't know, 30 cars, we have an issue, because we need 30 cars to be tested, only electric cars. As I said, ideally, we dream to introduce the plug-in hybrids in our test. That's also another kind of mission impossible, because the electrical part, as complicated as you see, is. However, for plugins, that's probably the simple part. If we talk about plugins and, of course, the exhaust pipes, pollutants, CO2 emissions, and microparticles, that is another chapter which is extremely complicated to be measured reliably. It is possible, but it's complicated and very expensive. So yes, we will carry on the project. We will do our best. We will try to convince VinFast and Circuitor and Coaches and even more other partners to join us in such a unique adventure in Europe to give European consumers reliable figures, facts, informations for themselves to make their own choices and to embrace the zero emissions journey we are all in.
Thank you very much, Dan. And you're almost in time. It's 5 to 12, and we wanted to end our press conference at 12 o'clock. So allow me to have one last question, Dan. Now we have all those remarkable results, but did you already get in touch with the car manufacturers to confront them about the results?
The answer is no, not yet. Because we decided to give life first for the European media and European consumer. And then we can also go and discuss with different manufacturers about the results. We believe these results will not be shocking at all. It might be surprising for some of the manufacturers, but not to a degree that is a complete shock. So in our concept was to not go before to any manufacturer, just to invite them after all to discuss. And by the way, I want to thank all the media who joined now with us, and all the media who was not able to join but will receive the complete package of information to disseminate all these informations all around Europe.
Thank you very much, Dan. And since we had a lot of technical data we talked about, you will find all of that on the official website, AUTOBEST.org, to have a closer look, to see pictures if you want. And then I would like to end this conference and wish you a good day and stay healthy. See you soon.